stretching. Everyone seems to hate stretching. I love stretching. This video is great for after a glute/leg workout, or you can do it on your rest day if you're feeling productive. I just did a killer glute workout courtesy of Sarah's Day. I'll leave the link in the description box below. So join me, get a mat, get your water, and let's stretch. So the link is below to the workout that I did right before filming this. Sarah's Day has a great fitness channel. I love all of her stuff. And if you can't tell, I was super sweaty when I was filming this stretching routine. So when you're ready, grab some water and meet me at the top of your mat for some shoulder rolls and some head rolls before slowly rolling down into a forward fold. If you can't reach the mat, that's okay. You can place your hands on your shins, just as long as you're feeling the stretch along the back of your legs. From here, do a little walk. You can pedal the feet. Just alternate one heel down and then the other before coming up into a flat back, fingertips on the mat. Release down into forward fold and then come back up again into flat back, pulling your shoulder blades down and back and away from your ears. From here, walk your feet out a little bit into a wider stance, and we're going to take a twist. Place your left hand on the ground and open up, looking up into the right over your shoulder. And now we're going to switch sides, right hand on the ground and look up into the left. Come back into a wide forward fold, bend your knees and roll back up into standing. And reach up with your arms. We're going to come back down into a forward fold. Reach as far as you can, and we're going to pedal the legs again. This is one of my favorite stretches. I could stay here all day. Once again, we're going to roll back up into standing. And narrow stance again. Come back down, rolling down into a high plank position. Take a moment here to just feel the strength. Push away the mat. Don't let your body droop. Try to keep nice and strong with your core. And don't forget to breathe. Push back now into a downward facing dog, and again we're going to pedal the legs. Try to alternate your feet. Enjoy the stretch. I know it might be a little painful. Lots of breath here as you continually pedal, and then push forward again into high plank. We're going to go alternating downward dog, high plank. This motion is really an example of dynamic stretching at its finest, which really helps to improve your body awareness and improves your range of motion. But if it's not working for you, feel free to hold the downward facing dog. We've got a few more of these. Don't forget to breathe. Try to coordinate your movement with your breath. And then we're going to come into a high plank and we're going to do elbow touches. So this is sort of like a slow mountain climbers. Starting with your right leg, you're going to use your right knee and try to touch your right elbow with it. Then you're going to try to touch your left elbow, and then you're going to bring your knee up into the center. And then we're going to repeat on the left side. So elbow touch to the side, and then diagonal, and then center. Don't mind me, I mess this up all the time. As long as you're doing 3 per leg for each side. Make sure you're squeezing your core nice and tight at the top of each movement. Touch, touch, and center. Keep your core nice and tight, and then push back and up into downward facing dog. We're going to take a 3-legged down dog. Right leg reaching up to the sky as high as you can, keeping it straight if possible. If you like, you can deepen the stretch by bending your leg and pointing that right toe toward the left shoulder. Once more into downward facing dog, and then we're going to bring that right leg forward. Try to make the shin parallel to the top of the mat. Keep your hips nice and square. Sit up tall, and if you like, you can bring your upper body down to the mat ever so slowly and try to deepen that stretch. It's a very, very strong stretch, not one of my finest. I find myself very, very tight even though I practice this a lot. And make sure you use a lot of breath here because you are going to be feeling a very intense stretch, and the one way to get through that intense stretch is by breathing. I personally like to do in through the nose and out through the nose, which is traditional yoga breathing, but you can do whatever works for you. Lifting myself back up into a downward facing dog, we're going to repeat on the left side, reaching that left leg up toward the sky, and then deepening the stretch again if you feel like it by pointing the left toe over the right shoulder. Now pigeon again on this side, bringing the left foot underneath the body and squaring that shin as much as you can to be parallel with the front of the mat. As you can see, I'm not even close. If you're feeling up to it, bring your upper body down to the mat nice and slowly, using lots of breath, and making sure you don't rock too much to the side. Try to stay even on both of your hips. So we're gonna chill here for a few seconds, try to enjoy it. This is an intense stretch, but it's a great one, especially if you sit in a chair for a lot of your day. And with your last breath, you're going to push back up into downward facing dog position, and we're going to go into a lunge stretch series. So reach that right leg up toward the sky. Again, you can bring it to the side to deepen the stretch if you feel like it. And we're going to bring the right leg forward now into a high lunge, stabilizing yourself and then dropping that back knee down to the ground. This is another hip opener, so you want to really push your hips forward to the front of your mat. You can use your right hand on your right knee to stabilize and to increase this stretch by adding a little bit of pressure. Feel free to stay here, or you can walk that right leg to the edge of your mat and come down into a lizard stretch with your forearms on the ground. This position is great for the hips, for the quads, for the hamstrings. Feel free to lean on a block if you aren't able to put your elbows right onto the ground yet. Next, walk that front foot back to the center of your mat, and we're going to come into a kneeling hamstring stretch. Your front foot should be flexed, and your torso should be lengthening, not just collapsed. And then we're going to push the hips forward again into runner's lunge. This is another one of my favorites. Feel free to grab a soft towel or a pillow if your back knee is bothering you. Again, if you feel comfortable, bring that right leg out to the edge of your mat and place your forearms on the ground to come into lizard pose. Come on up to hamstring stretch. One more deep breath, and we're going to raise ourselves back into a lunge position. I decided to throw in 10 jump lunges here. I'm not exactly sure why, but you can either hold the lunge or go back down into downward facing dog before we move on to the other side. So back down into downward dog we go, and we're going to repeat on the left hand side, first with a three-legged downward facing dog, bending that knee and opening to the side. Come into three-legged downward dog again, and we're going to reach that left leg forward to the top of the mat and come into a high lunge. Once you're all steady, drop the back knee, curl the toe under, and press your hips forward toward the front of the mat. Place your left hand on your left knee and use it to open that leg gently to the side. Walk that left foot out to the edge of your mat and come down onto your forearms for lizard pose. Walk your left leg back to the center of the mat, flex your foot, and bend up and over that extended long leg. Feeling the stretch all along the back of your leg, your hamstring. And on the deep exhale, push forward into runner's lunge, again opening through the hip. Keep your spine nice and long here. Look straight ahead. And we're going to come back into lizard pose again if you want, placing those forearms on the ground. Hamstring stretch again, bringing that foot back to the center of the mat and leaning up and over the extended leg, foot flexed. You can point as well, flex and point, whatever feels good for you. And we're going to come into a lunge again. I try to spike my heart rate even with slow workouts like this one, just because it helps with fat burning. Okay, I promise that was the last vigorous activity. We're going to come back to downward facing dog now. Take a few breaths here, catch your breath if you decided to do jump lunges, and then hop up to the front of your mat. We're going to come down onto our backs. Come into tabletop position, fix your shorts, and we're going to do windshield wipers, dropping our legs from side to side to stretch out the obliques. Be nice and controlled here, don't just flop around and let your legs touch the ground. Stay nice and strong through your core. And now we're going to come into some single straight leg stretches. So first we're going to bring that right knee toward the chest. You can rotate the ankles if you like. From here we're going to extend your right leg toward the sky as far as you can, and if you can't get it straight, just keep it bent, that's okay. Do some more ankle rolls. And then we're going to switch legs, bringing the left knee into the chest, fixing the shorts again, and ankle roll. If you can extend the left leg, grabbing it by the ankle as far as you can. And do some pointing, flexing, rotate the ankles. Next, we're going to do some more hip opening, crossing the right leg over the left knee and bringing the left knee into the chest. You can also take your right hand onto your right knee and push it away from you to deepen even further. Swapping over to that left side now. Taking left ankle over right knee and bringing that right knee toward you, pushing away with the left hand. Flexing your top foot here will really noticeably increase the stretch. Lots of deep breaths here. Rock up to seated position now. We're going to come into seated forward fold. Feet flexed, spine nice and long, gaze forward. And then you can point your feet and reach up through the top of your head, looking down to the ground. Flex your feet again, and we're going to fold over into a forward fold. Next up, we have a seated spinal twist. So bend your right leg, cross it over your left, and look up and over your right shoulder, keeping your gaze nice and high. Think about lengthening through the spine here, not just collapsing. Now we're going to switch over to the other side, crossing left leg over right and looking up and over that left shoulder. This is a great one for spinal mobility and increasing the blood flow to your spine. A few more deep breaths here, and then bring the bottoms of your feet together into butterfly pose. Sit up nice and tall, top of your head reaching toward the sky, trying to press those knees down as far as you can. And we're going to take some neck rolls here, just nice and slow. Hollow out the back, and then sit up nice and tall again. Next up is happy baby pose, which targets the inner thighs and the hips. Roll onto your back, grab the insides of your feet, And you can add a little rock back and forth here if that feels good to you. The goal here is to gently press your knees down towards your mat. Depending on your flexibility, you can also straighten your legs for a full leg stretch here and add a little rock as well. It's funny, and I don't know how it happens, but I'll be chilling in a position like this, just stretching, minding my own business, and this will be when someone decides to surprise visit me. Awkward. Anyway, rolling like a ball now, up in a seated position. You're gonna let yourself drop back right to about your shoulders and then pop back up to seated. This is a very much core activity, and it's not just a rolling with momentum. Try to be controlled. And this is a great one to just loosen up the spine. And we're gonna end here today in either boat pose or extended boat pose, depending on what's more comfortable for you. And we're done. Thanks for stretching with me. I hope you'll check back soon. Take it easy.